Welcome to this beautiful summer morning. Here in Utah, we are very hot, as well as other places. We are very hot. Just coming back from Cancun, and it was just as hot. So today's topic was inspired by you, my audience, and questions that I've been getting in about how to make some really hard decisions in life. And it's all across the board. So when it's this profound, it's something that needs some attention. And big decisions will feel really heavy to us and encourage a lot of fear and neural paths from times in our life where we doubted ourselves and where we made a decision that we thought was not healthy for us, or when we judged ourselves or shamed ourselves for the decisions we've made. And I've worked with clients before that in their pattern, they become very, very indecisive about life, about relationships, about any kind of big decision causes them to freeze. So first of all, no, that's normal. Okay, that happens often. And it's due to neural paths that said, oh, I should have done it a different way. So what we're going to do today is I'll provide you some tools with the ability to tap into your inner wisdom rather than from the ego. And first of all, let's lay the foundation. In my teachings, I'll keep it as simple as possible. We have many facets of ourselves, but basically we have the ego and the inner wisdom, the higher self, some call it the inner being, the part of us that is actually very wise and connected to source and has the answers for us. So as we learn how to become mindfully aware in the AWAKEN acronym, the A stands for awareness. When we become mindfully aware of which one is operating the show, we can make corrections as needed. So the first step is checking in with yourself and seeing how you're feeling. Your feelings are your thermostat to life. They tell you when you're in sync or out of sync. And so let's start today with just getting a body awareness scan, getting to know the body. The body is a temporary communication device for us while we're on the planet. The body's function is to communicate to us, back to us, to help raise our self-awareness of where our thoughts and our feelings have been out of alignment. And sickness and dis-ease and injuries, body injuries, they're all related to our mind and our heart. We are one complete unit, and it is always talking to each other. And so when you can understand that these are not accidents that happen to us, these illnesses, these sicknesses, arthritis, for me, that I've experienced, and learning how to listen to the body without harsh judgment instead of disconnecting from the body. Most of us will disconnect from the body when it feels painful. So being mindfully aware of your relationship with your body is really the first step, because the body is going to give you some answers about what's going on mentally and emotionally. If we are willing to own that these are not accidents that's happening with the body, it's providing a valuable message for us. Now, let's say your question that you have has nothing to do with the body. It's still very important for you, for me, to pay attention to the body, because it will also talk. There is a technique called kinesiology that is muscle testing, that you can test a positive or a negative belief within you. And when your body is hydrated, it can give you accurate answers. So to kick off today's topic, I want to encourage us all to just take some deep breaths, some cleansing breaths, and get you in your column of light so you're not picking up on other people's energy. All right, and take another deep breath up from Gaia, female energy down from source, and add that energy into your heart center. All right, let's take another deep breath. This one comes up from the Earth's experiences, our experience here, and breathing down from spiritual knowledge. Get you grounded in your column of light and put others that have been in your field in their own column of light around you, and unplug from anybody that's been bothering you or that you have maybe had an attachment to or an expectation of, okay? Just unplug those individuals. And I do it like this, and then plug them into their own column of light. I release you on your journey as I go on mine. I lovingly let you go. And then put your hand in that area that it felt like that they were plugged in to get to know your own field of energy. So step number one is get grounded in your own column of light, in your own field of energy. And now just do a body awareness scan. Get to know what the body feels like to be you. What does it feel like to be you? And notice any sensations happening in the body. Good job. That's getting the energy calmed down in the room, and it's getting everyone in their own column of light. Now, when it comes time for a specific question that we may have, it helps to clarify the question down to even, is this good for me? Leaning forward, yes. Is this not good for me? Pulling back, no. That's a great way for the body to get in touch with what is good for you and what's not good for you. It could be a relationship, it could be a career, it could be the food you're about to eat, and it could be a supplement, it could be whether or not to do a certain treatment on the body or not. And paying attention to that will help you, first of all, to raise your awareness to the body. And it's important that we become really mindful when we put something in the body. So every morning, thank you, Dixie, I take my chlorophyll, her recommendation. And this green chlorophyll helps hydrate my body with some of the minerals that it needs first thing in the morning. And taking some salt, some healthy salt, some salt that's not been bleached, and taking that first thing in the morning also can be helpful to getting accurate answers. And I think sometimes rock salt can be, sea salt can be better for you than the pink Himalayan salt if the pink Himalayan salt comes from a source that's not pure. Now, if you know that the source is pure, then absolutely the pink Himalayan salt is very good. Okay, so getting yourself hydrated is really important to let the body communicate answers for you. Okay, so let's go ahead, and for this exercise, I'm going to have you go to a time in your life that you have judged yourself for making a poor decision. Let's start with that one. Where, oh, I acted on instinct and I made a poor decision. Okay? And now we're going to just go into that decision that we made and the outcome of it. And notice how the body kind of wants to pull away a little bit. We are honoring it. We say, thank you, body, for that information. That decision was not good for me. However, I learned a lot from it. And we've all done it. We've all made mistakes and choices that have hurt us. So acknowledge that as a human experience and take a deep breath. And I've done this like, oh my gosh, was my intuition off? I shouldn't have chosen that. And sometimes I've run myself into a muck questioning that. So sit with that for a moment of it's okay. It's a human experience. And I learned from that experience. So hand on your heart, I forgive myself for thinking that I needed to be perfect in making all my decisions. These have been good learning experiences for me. It's really important that we de-shame, because as long as you're in judgment and shame about yourself, you cannot get inspired answers. You can't tap into that inner being that has the answers. Okay, so when we let that be okay and we notice the body pulls away from it, the body's telling us, we didn't like that outcome. We didn't like that choice. And gratefully, the human experience has many choices throughout our day, throughout our life. And we get to do it again. We get to have many more times that we get to make a choice. Okay, now let's go to a time in your life where you made a decision that was good for you. And I'll tell you, with mine, it was when my blessed mom, she took out a life insurance policy so that each of the kids would get a little money when she passed. And so we each got $500 out of her insurance. And it was with that $500 that I began my IRA account. And that was a really good decision for me. And I kept going, well, I shouldn't start an IRA if I'm in debt, should I? And questioning that. But when my mom passed, I wanted to show her that I would take that money and invest it in my future. So I started an IRA account, actually with a financial advisor. And so I made a commitment to pull out so much money a month. And I think it was $500, like $125 a week that I would put away for that IRA. And that was a really great decision for me, because as I saw that build over time, it gave me a feeling of abundance. It gave me a feeling that I can make smart decisions. And it gave me a sense of freedom for my future. So take your own example of something that was a good decision for you. It could have been to quit a job, to leave a marriage, to leave a relationship, or to invest in a stock, or go to school take a certain class, whatever that was for you, okay? And go back to that memory. Go ahead and close your eyes and go back to that memory while you're deep breathing. And notice and let your body fall forward with that. Oh yes, that was a good decision for me. And just notice how that feels for you. And notice how the energy feels freeing, how the energy is moving freely in your body. Okay, so notice how the body responds to a positive decision you made in your life. And you're training the body to give you accurate decisions. It will be open. It will be freeing. It will feel flowy. Okay. So now what we're doing is we're training the body to give us positive yeses and negative nos, to pull back for something that's not good for us and to lean forward with things that are good for us. And we do this to build this muscle. You get to practice going into your past and checking the times that you made decisions that weren't good for you or that you have deemed not good for you, and be mindful of the judgments. Let the judgments of that go. All experiences are the learning lessons for us, whether negative or positive. So take the judgment off it. Say, thank you for that experience as your body pulls back. Thank you. That was perfect for me to learn from at the time. And I forgive myself for judging myself harshly that I made a wrong decision. So de-shame for the no's, for the wrong decisions, if you want to call it that. I don't like the word, but we can say for a decision that wasn't for your highest good. And then using the same exercise to go into positive decisions that were good for you and train the body to lean forward. Okay, so now we're training our level of awareness to go way up during the decision-making process. So when we access that inner being, there will be a stillness, a quietness. And if we go into the logic behind this, think about any time that you were really rushed to make a decision and somebody was pressuring you to buy something, for example. And it was a rather large purchase and you were feeling like, I don't know if I should. And then you got home and you have buyer's remorse. Okay, that's a great example of the energy not being freely flowing. And anytime we have a big decision to make, I recommend, or a big purchase, that you take a time out for 24 hours before you make that big purchase, at least 24 hours, and give it some time for your body and for you to check in. Now, I have another exercise that I use for this, and this is just, again, to raise our awareness level to tap into inner wisdom. And so what I do in this exercise is I access the energy. And this is a great exercise for those who are clairsentient or get feelings about things. Okay, so what we're doing is we're just accessing the energy ball. Okay, we're going to take, let's say you have a really big decision ahead of you in life. Okay, could be about a relationship, could be about your health, could be about even, should I move here, should I move there? Which home is appropriate for me? All right, so we're going to take just one decision, and the whole point of this is just two decisions. We need to choose between two decisions, so you want to narrow it down. Now, I recommend that you do a cost and payoff list for the left brain. And what that is you take a blank piece of paper and on one side you put the cost of this decision. How will this decision hurt me? What are the drawbacks of this decision? And then on the other side, let's write the payoffs for this decision. What, if I choose this, what will it provide for me that I can see right now that are the positive aspects about this decision? And let's say that it's two homes you're looking at. And so what I would do is take one home and do the cost and payoffs of this particular home on this side. How is this home not appropriate for me? And how is this home appropriate for me? Okay, that's one home. Then we'll do the same thing for the other home. And you'd use this with, you can do this with any decision that you have in your life. What will it cost me and how will it serve me, the payoff? Costs, payoff. It's important to get the left brain involved because the logic will sometimes trump the inner wisdom. And so when we give the left brain or the logic brain a voice, then we're acknowledging it and we're not discounting the logic behind making this decision, especially if it's a big financial decision or a decision about your life, whether or not you should have surgery or not surgery. These are really big decisions. And so costs and payoffs are important, and giving the left brain permission to give input on that is important, whether this relationship is good for me or not good for me. Again, costs, payoffs. Should I break up with this person or should I stay with this person? Costs, payoffs. Okay, so we're inviting the left brain to engage. We're inviting the left brain to have a say in our two decisions. And then get quiet and say to your body, I am surrendering this to the highest and greatest divine will. Okay? It's important that we let go of the ego. I am surrendering my will for thy will is another term you can use. Because some decisions are really scary and we get locked into the fear of it. And recognizing that is really important. I'm afraid to make this decision, but that fear is eating at me. And so my inner wisdom is saying, I need to make a decision. Having tough conversations, for example, the cost and payoff. Well, that relationship may not like that conversation. It might hurt the relationship. However, I need to have this conversation with this person because it's taking me to a higher place in my life for me to grow and for me to thrive. So noticing the energy, and let's go into one decision at a time. And you take that and put it in a ball, this decision in a ball of energy. Just like a snowball. And take a decision that you have in your life. You can use it now for this exercise. Any decision, whether it's career change, something about your health, or a relationship. Okay. Now let's take one side of it. Let's say, no, I'm not going to do that. And let's put it in a ball. Okay. And with no judgment from us. Okay. We're not putting judgment on this. It's important that we get out of the way. We surrender this to highest and best intentions for ourselves and for others. And we just create an energy ball, and it helps to close your eyes and just feel that energy ball. And just notice the color of it. Is it a lighter color, a denser color? Notice the texture of it. If it had a smell, what would the smell be? And this is our no answer. We're just giving it a no, as if we're saying no to this certain situation or question that we have. Okay, and we notice whether that no, what it feels like, what it smells like, if it had a sound, what it sounds like. We're doing some NLP techniques with it by bringing in the senses. If it had a sound, if it had a texture, if it had a smell, if it had a taste, what would it taste like? And I would go ahead and write those down and just notice it without judgment, okay? Then we're going to notice, put it in one of your hands, doesn't matter which one, just whichever one it wants to go to. We've created the ball of energy, put it in one of your hands. And notice whether it feels heavy or light. Notice whether the body leans towards that answer or pulls away from that answer. And this is your no answer. Whether that's good for you would be a leaning forward to go with no on this, or whether you pull back and this is heavy then it might not be the right direction for you. The no might not be good for you. Now, we're doing this without judgment, which can be really challenging, and it's a good practice to just observe. And now we're going to move over to the yes answer. Okay, and we're going to create this beautiful ball of energy of yes with no judgment about good, bad, right, or wrong. We're just creating a beautiful ball of energy. Notice the yes as a ball of energy. And notice whether this ball feels light or if it feels heavy. Notice if it has a scent, a taste, a smell. Do you want to throw it in the air? Does it feel heavy, like it wants to weigh down? Does your body lean toward that yes, or does it pull away from that yes? These are all good experiences to see whether these decisions are good for me or not. Now, I want to throw in a caveat. We think that, let's say that the decision was yes, and then some hiccups came. Say yes to this relationship, okay? I'm not going to go to my husband, my children's father. Yes, the answer was yes to marry him. Now, this marriage, in my opinion, was very, very challenging. For the 6 years that I was with him was very challenging. Does that mean I made a wrong choice? No, it doesn't. I beat myself up often going, why did I choose this? It's so hard. And instead, when I changed that to what did I learn from that decision and what did it give me? 3 children, beautiful children. And I learned so much about myself and humans and behavior. And it's what drove me into wanting to be a therapist, actually, a family and marriage therapist. I went to school for before I moved over to energy and intuitive. And I let the universe guide me. But I didn't, after I learned this valuable lesson, I stopped beating myself up for that decision, because now the inner wisdom that I have about that decision led me to what I do today. It also provided 3 beautiful children and some, I believe, fulfilling spiritual contracts that I had with this person about being on the planet together and having children together. So acknowledging that because you get a yes answer on something or a no answer on something, and then it doesn't go as smooth as you had hoped it to go, doesn't mean it's not the correct answer, okay? It means there's a little bit of work to do around this. And I'm happy to help you clean out those parts. But instead of why me, this is how you clean those parts, you ask, what could I learn from that experience? And when you journal those answers, what could I learn from this experience? You get the higher wisdom of why that was a yes for you and what you wanted to learn from that experience. So recapping, use your left brain, cost and payoff of the no. Use your right brain, cost and payoff of a yes. Create the balls of energy. Create the energy. Notice if it has a smell, texture, a taste. What does it look like? Is it heavy? Is it light? And just acknowledge without judgment, and then go to the other answer and do the same thing there. Give yourself some quiet alone time to do this, and don't feel like you have to make this decision right now. And after I've received a confirmation about something, many times I'll or receive that answer, notice the light, the heaviness, then I'll ask for a confirmation. I will say, please show me a confirmation concerning this no decision I made, or for this yes decision I made. And then surrender it. I surrender this to higher power. I let go of my ego fear. I let go of attachments to this. And give me the confirmations that I am looking for this decision. And a confirmation could be a butterfly showing up, could be the freeing feeling that you feel in your body after you've made the decision. Could feel like excitement. It could feel like relief. It could feel it's just an open energy that is really allowing. It's a movement energy through the body. Those are the confirmations you're looking for. Now, if you feel tightness in your chest, in your gut, it's important to detect, is that coming from fear? So for your hard conversations you need to have, perhaps with a partner or children, you could get that ball of fear coming up for you because you haven't used your voice before. But then when you see yourself having that conversation and feel that load lightening, then you go, okay, so a conversation is necessary for me. And now my next step is, how do I do that conversation? How do I do it with love rather than fear? With compassion rather than attack of the ego? So many decisions here, but noticing how the body feels and why the body is feeling that way. Choosing with integrity also counts. Does this line up with my values, of my belief system? Does this job, career, position change? Does it line up with what I believe, what I teach, what I speak? If you're taking a job for money or security, but it doesn't line up with your values, that's not going to go well for you. It will be hard for you to go to work. When you choose in alignment, I am trusting that a better position comes for me that's more aligned with me, with my values, and with my passions. Then, and you surrender that to the universe, then opportunities come. When you let go of the desperation, the answers come. When you let go of, oh my gosh, I have to make a decision today, they're forcing me today, that's a gridlock, and that's not going to allow the inspiration to flow. And then I recommend going for a walk with that decision, with what the energy of that decision feels like. And sit. If this is life-changing decision, then I would sit with both sides, a yes and a no. And I would sit with that for a period of time and noticing how the body feels. But instead of going back and forth, choose one side and listen to how the body feels. Listen to what the body says. Listen to what your mind says, your heart says, and acknowledge the fears without judgment. And then surrender it. Once you've made that decision, or you say, it feels like and it looks like that this is a yes for me, that I'm going to go this route, and my body feels like this is the answer, then sit with that answer. Be with that answer instead of going back, like maybe I'm making the wrong decision. No, sit with that for a period of time. That way, you can spend time listening to the body and knowing how your body's responding to this yes. And as you surrender it, and I'll give you a big incident in my life that was a big decision where I was asked to surrender. And this is how I learned how to make these decisions. So I was in custody battle, as you know, those who are close to me, many, many years ago when my children were very young. And that felt like the right thing to do because I needed to make right what I feel was wronged, was to take this to the courts. Well, that incident ended up costing me a lot of money, first of all. And then in the end, as it was approaching the end, before the judge was making the decision, this information dropped into my mind that said, let them go. Let your children go, for after all, they are not yours. It's time to surrender them. Now, that was not an answer that I wanted. That was not the answer that I felt was good for me. And I was very scared of that answer. So this came just out of the blue as a statement that dropped down in. Now, this could have come from my inner being. It could have come from divine creator. I believe we're one with divine creator, so that my inner being was picking up that answer. And in that moment, I took each child and I laid them on the altar. I knelt down by the side of my bed and I put each child on the altar. As I was sobbing, saying, I give this child, and I would speak their name, back to you. I have no idea how I'm going to survive this, but I'm trusting the universe with this decision, even though it's so hard and it's so scary. Well, the next day, the letter came in the mail that was recommending the kids to go live with their father based on a few different things. And of course, my heart was broken, but this level of peace came over me that I had made the right decision, that it was time for me to stop fighting and to let go. And the peace that came over me was like a blanket being put around my nervous system that was so shaky and scared. And even though that was the hardest decision in my life, it put me on a trajectory for my purpose in life and what I would do. There were things I could not see that were playing into the energy of that decision. So some of the decisions you make, your ego is going to fight and scream and say, no, we have to hold on tight to this. We can't let it go. But you may feel peace in choosing, I must let go. It's time to let go. And this has happened to me with relationships as well. It's time to let go. And then you notice the feelings of peace in the body. And you notice that when the brain doesn't get running its muck, like, what am I going to do? What's going to happen? I don't know what to do with my life now. When you can let go of those fears, acknowledge them. I see you, I hear you, and I surrender you. Then you move back into alignment with truth of who you are. Play with this energy. It is why we are here, to see that we have agency in all things. We have agency over what food we put into our body next. You can do this exercise with mindfully eating, with mindfully taking your supplements. Is this good for me? Yes or no? What does it feel like in the moment that you might be needing to feed yourself a lot? Slow it down and ask, do I need this right now? Do I need this drug? Do I need this alcohol? Whatever. Do I need this cigarette? When we become so mindfully aware of what the body's speaking, we'll know what's appropriate for us and what's not. Okay, so have fun with these exercises. Use your logic mind, right? The costs and payoffs of the yes and the no answers. Pay attention to your body. Raise your level of awareness all the time, all the time. Oh, I'm noticing I just got hiccups. I wonder what's causing that. I noticed that I need to sneeze. What caused that? Without judging yourself for this. And the more you practice this body awareness, the more you will get the answers to make your life easy, to flow with life with grace and ease. And when you're panicking about something, that's not the time to make a decision. Get yourself grounded. Do your deep breath work. Go for a walk. Get yourself grounded and surrender it. Not my will, but thine be done. Now, that could trigger some people, the language, but that language works for me. And when I get in sync with thy will and my will, life flows and blissful living happens. Maybe not in that moment. For me, it took quite a long moment to heal the pain and suffering and the grief that I had around my children living with their father. But it was the most profound learning I ever received about myself, about life, about relationships, and how to show up. I learned about how to make hard decisions. I learned how to turn my life over to Source. I learned how to see, how to speak through the eyes of love. The journey can seem very difficult, but as you get skilled in using this tool and use it in everything on a daily basis, you will make decisions that will create blissful living. So keep practicing, get skilled at your body leaning forward with a yes and pulling back with a no. Get skilled at creating an energy ball of that decision and going into all of the senses about what that ball feels like in one hand. Which hand does it want to go to? Put the other answer in the other hand, and then notice which one feels heavier or lighter. Your body has the answers. It will tell you. And freedom is available to you. You will be free from the conflict of this decision-making process. And life gets really fun because you get tapped in and tuned in. So practice daily, practice for the big, practice for the small, practice for the small daily. You'll get good at being prepared for those big ones. Be the love that you are. Do it passionately and create blissful living. I love you all.